and welcome to another video. Today's video is going to kind of be a rewatch discussion. I had my YouTube channel back when I first saw seasons 1, 2, and 3 of My Hero Academia. I never did any type of review or like reaction or discussion video, and I could just kick myself in the freaking face. And recently, since season 5 has been going on, I have kind of wanted to go back and rewatch like seasons 1, 2, 3, and 4. I really love this show and the characters and the world building. I remember when season 4 came out, after I finished it, I said it was my favorite season. It's not my favorite season anymore. My ranking has changed. Honestly, season 2 and season 3 are like my two favorites now. Are amazing. They have amazing arcs to them. So this video, after rewatching all the first 3 seasons, I really want to do kind of a discussion / talking about it. Like season 1 has its issues, but like season 2 and 3 to me are just like top tier. I really wanted to have some type of video where I was talking about it. I think season 2 and season 3 are just so well done, not just in terms of character development, but also in arcs. You have the school tournament arc. You have the Staying Hero Killer. You have the internships. In season 3, you have the training camp. Then you have everyone getting their provisional licenses, minus Todoroki and Bakugo. I really like those arcs, and I really want to talk about them. Just like talk about this show and the character growth. But yeah, season 1, it starts off with, you know, like Deku, he has no quirk. He wants to try to make it into UA. However, we have Mr. Cocky Ass himself, Bakugo, who thinks,
I'm the only one that can get into UA, I'm the only one they choose, all the rest of you are extras, losers, nerds.
And I forgot how, like, much of an asshole and a jerk Bakugo is. Forgot that in the first episode, he literally tells Deku, tells him to jump off the top of the building. He basically tells him to kill himself. Like, I mean, Bakugo's come a long way since then, but my god, he was such a little asshole. So obviously Deku has no quirk. He's a huge admirer of heroes, and that's why I love Deku so much. He doesn't want to, like, he wants to be better than Bakugo, but that's because he admires Bakugo so much, and you can tell when they're having that fight in season 3, when they're just like going at each other. Mind you, that fight is both like terrifying, but also so badass. Not holding back Bakugo. Bakugo is just like so upset. That's where Bakugo really pours out all of his feelings. He's like, how come you got to be All Might's chosen one when I admired him so much? Like, am I not allowed to be number 1 anymore? Am I not allowed to admire All Might anymore? Just like brings on this whole emotional wave, and you're just like, Bakugo, you're making me feel things, man. And he's talking to Deku during their fight. Like, am I the reason All Might had to retire? Am I the reason he doesn't have his power anymore? Bakugo, stop making me cry, man! Bakugo's not responsible, just like All Might tells him. Like, Deku felt the same way. Deku feels like that he's the reason All Might had to retire because he had some of his quirk, but it's like All Might was gonna retire eventually. He was gonna lose his quirk eventually. It was just a matter of time. But you have Deku, who has been bullied for years by Kacchan, even though he admires Bakugo so much. You have Deku who runs without hesitation, without even thinking. Like All Might says, what makes you a hero and what makes you worthy of my quirk is because without thinking, without hesitation, you ran into that sludge monster villain to save Bakugo. No quirk, a child, you were like, a person is in danger, I need to help them. I just love how All Might kind of does that 180. You can't be a hero unless you have a quirk. But then he sees the way Deku ran after Bakugo, and he's like, wait a minute, this kid is worthy of my quirk. He has so much admiration and so much persistence. All Might saw himself in Deku. He saw this kid that wants to be a hero, that wants to protect people. I love Deku and All Might's relationship throughout the entire first 3 seasons. I really love how it went from Deku being a total freaking fanboy of All Might, being like, oh god, I love you so much, please sign my book, oh my god, I already did, to now he has All Might's power, he's being trained by All Might, now All Might is being impressed, being surprised and encouraged by Deku. Deku went from admiring All Might to now All Might is seeing the growth, persistence, and the training of Deku, and he now admires Deku, and it's so sweet to see the relationship go from one admires the other to now the teacher admires the student. I love that kind of arc. Love that now All Might, especially when they're practicing getting ultimate moves, and Deku is using his legs now, and when he's figured out his new shoot style, trying to use his legs, because he learned that from both Gran Torino and Ida, when he's coming up with his ultimate move, a piece of rock nearly hits All Might. Deku shoots at it, kicks it with his leg. You can see All Might is so impressed. Yes, I'm all here for All Might being impressed by Deku. I am all over the place, but I am so sorry. So season 1, Deku gets his quirk. He has to train on the beach with All Might. I love how like Deku's trying to move this giant ass piece. I think it's a giant ass fridge or something. And All Might's just sitting on top in his hero form being like, ha, you're not ready for my quirk. Deku's just like, but I thought you said I was ready. Deku was such a skinny, scrawny little kid, and now he's just like this bulky dude that like is kicking ass. It's like what All Might said, it's not just about being a hero and like being flashy, it's also about rescuing people. That's a big thing they touch on in the provisional license exam. Rescuing people, especially whether it be from a villain or a hostage situation or a natural disaster, it is a big part of being a hero. Well, Deku did fail the entrance exam. He took down a 0-point robot, ended up like fucking his arm up completely. He, without hesitation, saved Uraraka. That's why he was able to pass. It was not just a test of taking down these robots. It was a test also of rescue points. He barely scraped by, but it's okay. So then obviously then we have where they're going to do team ups in 2 teams. So one team is the villains and one team is the heroes. Ida and Bakugo are the villains and Deku and Uraraka are the heroes. And of course Bakugo is just not taking this seriously at all. He just wants to fight Deku and, how'd you get a quirk? You're supposed to be a quirkless loser. Literally I swear, Bakugo just keeps thinking. It says this in season 3 when they're fighting. He literally just keeps thinking. Deku looked down on him, that Deku thought he was a weakling. Deku admired you, Bakugo. He admired your strength, your quirk, your determination. He wanted to be like you. You both admired All Might. Deku admired All Might so much. He had you in his life. You were in his life physically, Bakugo. You were the one that pushed him to want to be better. I don't know why you don't get that through your skull. I think getting into UA is really when Midoriya started to be like, I am not your punching bag anymore, Bakugo. Also been watching Kacchan for so many years, watched him use his quirk, and he knows a few of Bakugo's moves. So when Bakugo tries to attack with a move that Deku's seen before, he takes his arm, flips him over, throws him on the ground, and then he's like, Deku is the name of a hero! With a quirk like his, and even everyone else in Class 1A, they may have a good handle on their quirk. Throughout every season, every arc, they're experiencing new things. They're accelerating their quirk, growing it, learning to just use it for longer time. The amount of growth these characters have gone through is just insanity to me. But season 2 is where it gets so freaking good. The tournament arc. All the classes of UA, they're all gonna get together in this giant arena and test out their quirks in a series of little games. The first one is an obstacle course race. This is why I love Deku so much. Obviously, he doesn't use his quirk because it literally could break his bones. So he uses what I call his other secret quirk, his IQ quirk, and he determines that all of the explosives they have to go through are very powerful. So what he does is he takes a part from another robot, he uses it to dig up a bunch of different like landmines, puts them all in a huge ass pile, slams the piece of the robot that he took off, and he just goes flying, sailing through the sky on his little robot piece, slams down the piece of the robot onto the ground, onto another landmine, while he has both of his knees on Bakugo and Todoroki, just continues flying and wins the obstacle race, comes in first place. Then we move into the individual battles. First off, we have Deku versus Shinzo. Shinzo has a brainwashing quirk, and instantly he brainwashes Midoriya, kind of like is talking really bad about Ojiro. It triggers Midoriya, obviously, because one, that's his friend and his classmate. He gets super pissed off. He goes straight for Shinzo. Shinzo brainwashed him and tells him to turn around and walk out. All Might's at the other entrance be like, what the heck are you doing, kid? Get out there and show him what you made of. The way Deku gets out of Shinzo's quirk, sees other vestiges, other vessels of one for all. I don't know if it was him or the vestiges. They end up snapping his finger out, so obviously he is able to get out. He just like pushes Shinjo away. So Deku makes it to the next round. We have a bunch of other people. I believe we have Ida versus Hatsume, Todoroki versus Sarah, which is not an equal match because obviously you have a fire and ice guy against a tape guy. Like, I don't know what you expect. At least Sarah knows he can't win, but at least he tries. He slams his foot on the ground and just shoots a huge ass ice wall. Sarah's trapped and Midnight's just like, can you move, Sarah? Be honest. And Sarah's like, I mean, do you see what I see? Of course I can't fucking move. We have Kirishima versus Tetsu. Anytime I see them together, I just can't help but think of that Barbie song, I'm just like you, you're just like me. I can't get that out of my head now. I saw it on a TikTok and I just can't get it out of my head now. That's forever what I'm gonna think of as Tetsu and Kirishima. Okugami versus Yaoyorozu, and Yaoyorozu's gotten through a lot of growth and development as well. She's not my favorite of the female characters, but I think she's done a really nice job of being able to hone her quirk in more, really like do some planning out and take charge, especially when they're doing the fight against their teachers, and her and Todoroki are against Aizawa. I think she's pretty good at being able to strategize, like come up with backup plans on the fly, and I just like watching her growth. Like with everyone else too. Even Class 1B, I love watching Class B grow as well. Then we have Bakugo against Uraraka, which honestly, I really liked that fight. Just because she's a girl doesn't mean he's gonna hold back, and I like that. I like that Bakugo is not just seeing Uraraka as a girl, he's seeing her as an equal opponent. Whether you're a girl or a boy, you should treat your opponent equally. There were a couple heroes in the stands that were being like, hey, you're going too hard on her, and Aizawa's just like, shut the fuck up, man. Like, Bakugo wants to be a hero so badly. He's not gonna go easy on Uraraka just because she's a girl. Uraraka is a very worthy opponent. Obviously, it's hard to go against someone with her quirk against Bakugo, but she's able to hold her own. I like that Bakugo knew that she got in here for a reason. I'm not going to go easy on her because she's here for a reason, because she's powerful, she's a great quirk. The fight that was the most intense, Todoroki versus Deku. Like, the first time I saw that, I was just like, whoa. This is like a defining moment for Todoroki. Saw him a little bit in season 1, he was very cold, no pun intended. This is really the moment where like a switch is flipped in Todoroki. He's only using half of his quirk because that's his ice quirk. He doesn't want to use his fire like his father because his father is an abusive asshole that I still can't just like, I have my issues with Endeavor, so many issues. It's because it's his mom's quirk. He doesn't want anything to do with Endeavor. Endeavor pushed him so hard as a child, made his mom go crazy to the point where she poured boiling water on his face because his left side reminded her so much of this abusive, disgusting piece of trash. Todoroki refuses to use his fire side. He has all these feelings and feels about his father. It's not until Midoriya is just like fighting him head on. He's like, it's your quirk, not his. You need to be able to make it your own. And I love that throughout the rest of the season. He's showing his father that, yeah, I'm using my left side now. I'm not gonna follow in your footsteps. I haven't given up anything. I don't want to be like you. I want to be my own hero. You can choose to let that define you. You can choose to live in your father's shadows, or you can make this half of your quirk your own, rise up and be the hero you want to be. Midoriya's not just good at physically saving people, he's good at like mentally, emotionally saving people. Whether it be trying to reach out to Koda, you have Todoroki. I guess Todoroki kind of saved himself on his own because he slowly started to realize it, but I think Deku really saying that to him and cutting into his heart, getting to the root of the problem, root of the issue. I think that's what Todoroki needed in that sense. And even throughout the rest of the season and other seasons, you can still see Todoroki is still, like, especially with his internship, he goes to intern under his father, not because he wants to be like his father, but because he used his fire in so long, so he needs to learn how to control it. He didn't use it for a long time because of what his father did to both him and his mother. Yes, his mom poured a pot of boiling water on his face and gave him that scar. Endeavor drove her to do that. She was tired of this life of abuse. A person can snap. It just got to her. I like that Todoroki, while she did that to him, he is still like, she's my mom. It's not necessarily her fault. She was driven to like the point of no return. She snapped. He slowly not only becomes friends with everyone in Class 1A after he literally did a declaration of war with Midoriya. We're not here to make friends. I'm stronger than you. Now, like, a couple, like, episodes later, when Midoriya sends him a location, he's like, I gotta go help my friend! Especially in Season 3 when he's fighting Inasa, he has to learn that he is my father. I will always have hate for him in my life, no matter if I want to push that away or not. But that doesn't mean that I have to, like, respect. That doesn't mean I have to, like, love him. And I love that for Todoroki. I love the fact that he's gonna be his own person and work to what he wants to be versus what his father wants to be. That's the sports festival. I like it a lot. It's I think it might be my favorite arc just because I feel like it's really good. During this time, we have the hero killer and Ingenium. Ingenium is Ida's older brother. He corners this hero killer. Obviously, Ingenium gets super beat up to the point where we find out that he is paralyzed from the legs down, which is so fucking sad for Ida and his brother and their family. I get why Ida sees this and learns this. And he is just like on a mission during their internships to like go after the hero killer. Because he's on a mission for revenge. Because Ida's the class rep. He is very calm, cool, and collected by the book, by the rules. At the same time, he's only 15, 16. At that age, you do have those impulses. You do have emotions get the better of you. One hand, I hate what happened to his brother so freaking much, but at the same time, I think Ida needed to go through the hero killer situation to really understand that you can't just act on impulse. You need to really think of a game plan, and you just really need to take things seriously and don't let revenge be guiding you. Don't let it cloud your judgment. He's so angry that he doesn't notice that there's another hero injured that he could have rescued and saved. But yeah, seeing Ida go on like a rampage with the hero killer. Oh man, that whole moment when like Todoroki and Deku find him, like, they're fighting the hero killer and they're working together, and Ida's just on the ground and he's just like so sorry. Like he's like, I can't, I'm so sorry I dragged you into this. I should have never been blinded by this. Todoroki and Deku have to give him a pep talk and be like, you stand up. You want to be in Jedium. You gotta get up. It's like, oh my god, these kids, this show. Oh, Ida and them end up like kicking the hero killer's butt pretty much. Like Todoroki's using his flames. Deku is learning his new moves that he has, which is so cool. Because Deku went to go train for his internship under Gran Torino. And Midoriya kind of has to really rethink his quirk. Letting your admiration for All Might cloud your judgment. You may have All Might's quirk and you may admire All Might so much. I mean, obviously you want to become #1 and be his successor, but you want to be able to do it in a way that is unique to you. He kind of learns this through those fishy crackers or treats that Trino has. If you just let one half of your body take all of the heat, you're going to end up breaking your bones. But by concentrating one for all onto your entire body, you're minimizing the damage to one part of your body. You're minimizing all the pain in one part because it's all over your body now. It's just so cool to see him succeed, learn things, and start putting it into practice. Everyone gets back. They're gonna have like a little rescue where they're gonna put people in teams of like 4. Whoever can get to All Might the Might first and rescue him, win. Everyone obviously doesn't know what Midoriya went through, or Ida, or Todoroki, but especially what Midoriya went through and getting more used to his quirk and getting full cowl. Everyone's been like, I think Midoriya's at like a disadvantage. Zero does win because Deku messes up, but he gets to show off to everyone that he's moving through the air, propelling himself forward, jumping on different structures. Kind of like how Bakugo does with his quirk. One of my favorite moments. I love, maybe that's just mean, but I love watching the other classmates be shocked and surprised by something Deku does. We all know where his quirks stem from. Like at the beginning, he would break every bone. Now he's propelling through the air, jumping off of things, mimicking Bakugo and Gran Torino's like techniques, just surprising everyone. I love that moment. And then he's like, with my new training, I can win. And he does slip and make a miscalculation, but he does such a good job. I love that moment where he's soaring through the air. Everyone's just like shocked and surprised. I love that moment. End of season 2, where they have to do another like exam thing, and this is kind of like a final exam thing. Be able to go to this training camp, which happens in season 3. It ends up being a freaking disaster. You get partnered up with someone, you have to go against a teacher. However, that teacher, you know, has like a hindrance on them. Like they have shackles, they're like half their weight. We have Bakugo and Deku together going against All Might of all people. The first time I saw that, I was just like, this is not gonna end well. And it doesn't really start off well that either. Bakugo doesn't want to talk to Deku, even though Deku's like, oh, we need to think of a plan, Kacchan. This is literally All Might we're going up against, the guy we both admired. Like, we gotta think of some fucking plan. Because Bakugo wants to fight him head on, but it's like, Bakugo, you're not gonna win. This is All Might, whether he has 5% of his strength or 100% of his strength. And Deku wants to run away, but it's like, Bakugo has too much pride for that, so they have to really work together. And he has so much pride, and we see that throughout the entire show, especially in like season 1. He's a very complicated and a very like interesting character because he has so much pride in him because he wants to beat All Might. He wants to be the #1 hero. Really, he had nothing kind of in his way, and then all of a sudden Deku gets this like amazing quirk, and he's like, wait, wait a minute. Everything he's known really kind of like turned on his head. He thinks, well, maybe Deku admiring me all these years was like a lie. Maybe he was taunting me, making fun of me. No, Deku's always admired you, Kacchan, because you have an amazing quirk. You're so powerful. You have such ambitions. Have like that whole conversation in season 3 because Bakugo slowly starts to figure out that Deku has All Might's quirk, it's been passed down to him. Bakugo gets really emotional. That's like the first time we see Bakugo like have a full-on breakdown. He is just like, am I the reason All Might retired? Am I the reason he has no quirk anymore? Is it my fault? For so long, like with Deku too. Deku sees All Might getting weaker, and Deku thinks that it's my fault. Like Bakugo, it's not your fault. All Might Might had no choice. This villain he fought a long time ago came back. He had to stop him. Whether he was gonna lose his quirk or not, he gave it his all. And that fight between All Might and All for One, that's a tearjerker. That just rips out your heart. I think they have to really work together in the end of season 2 after they punch each other a few times. So surprise, a few punches between Deku and Bakugo. Nothing new there! And Deku ends up getting to use one of Bakugo's arm exploding things, which is really dope. So season 3 starts with all of the kids going to this training camp. Now obviously Kaminari, Mina, Kirishima, and Saito, they all failed their going up against their teachers, which I gotta commend them regardless because like they went up against their freaking teachers who are all pro heroes and they managed to like stand their own for a while. And then Sero was on Minetta's team and he ended up like passing out because of Midnight's quirk, so he ended up failing as well. Sorry, Sero! So they had to take extra lessons. Training camp is really a chance. It's really a way for them to really practice in an open area in a forest away from the civilization. Practice using those quirks. You have Todoroki having to regulate the temperature of this bath he's in, so he has to switch between hot and cold all the time to keep the temperature regulated. Yaoyorozu has to keep eating things while producing things. You know, Ida's running around like non-stop. That training was on another level. And then you have this kid, Koda, who doesn't like heroes because his parents, the water hose heroes, were killed by this villain, Muscular, who ends up later showing up at the training camp because the League of Villains happens. But then the League of Villains show up wanting to go get Bakugo because like they want him to join their side. You guys don't know Bakugo. No matter how angry, annoying, asshole rudeness he is, he has it in his book. He is gonna beat All Might and be the #1 freaking hero. No matter what that crazy, angry Pomeranian attitude, he's never gonna be a villain. They kidnap him and they try to like reason with him and he's just like, you're a bunch of idiots. I'm gonna kill you all. Like, they should have just known Bakugo was, no matter how like rude and angry he is all the time, he wants to be a hero. No one's gonna stop him from being a hero. League of Villains come out. It just gets so intense. Kodo ran off on his own. Deku, who looks after him while all the rest of the villains are attacking everyone. He manages to like find Koda. Lo and behold, the villain that killed Koda's parents, Muscular, finds Koda. That's just gotta be a scary thing. Not only to be a little kid and to have a villain come up to you, that's like scary enough and you're in the middle of the woods, but also the villain that killed your parents. I don't blame Koda for being freaking terrified. Cause like I would be terrified too. So Deku, like still not really having the best control of his quirk, decides to hold his own, protect Koda against this Muscular man. And that's what Deku's just known for at this point. Rescuing children, trying to protect children, while literally trying to kill himself in the process. Have Eri-chan with Overhaul, Koda with Muscular, protecting Katsuma and Maho in the My Hero Academia movie against 9. You're a hero after all, you want to be a pro hero, let alone be like the next All Might. That's just his brand, injuring himself to protect children. And that's just the parallel is so like amazing, much young Deku admired and thought All Might was his hero to now having kids look at Deku like he is All Might. Like the way Deku look at All Might is just like so cute. So Deku pretty much like goes beyond plus Ultra. He ends up going to like 100%. I'm pretty sure both his arms are like broken beyond repair at this point. He's just like, I'm not giving up. Deku just manages to like go ham during, he's running on adrenaline, so like I get why like he still can be like, oh yeah, I gotta fight some more. So he meets up with Shoji, who is trying to calm down Tokoyami, Dark Shadow. Dark Shadow in the darkness becomes unhinged. They locate Todoroki and Bakugo trying to protect Bakugo, and obviously end up not being able to take care of Bakugo because Compress, which I do like Compress a lot, he ends up using his quirk, which is like taking things into little marbles, so he takes Tokoyami and Bakugo. Abi shows up. I think he says something along the lines of like, poor Shoto Todoroki, and I'm just like, one day you two will talk. And everyone is pissed off. Like, I don't blame them because like, you have Deku who blames himself for not being able to reach out and grab Bakugo because he has 2 busted arms. You can only do so much. Like, I know you wanted to save Bakugo. I know you all feel really bad about it. Like, you were so close. But it's like, you have 2 busted up arms. When you go see the doctor, the hospital says, if you sustain another injury like this, you may never be able to use your arms again. Calm down, bro. That's why Deku and Kirishima and Todoroki feel the need to go rescue Bakugo. Todoroki and Midoriya, they were there. They were so close, literally so close to rescuing Bakugo, and there was nothing they could do. And then you have Kirishima, who is feeling the most guilt out of everyone because he wasn't there. He was being protected in a classroom. They were doing extra classes, and he could do nothing. He didn't know it was even happening. And he just feels the most pain, and I'm just like, Kirishima! That's why he is the one that is like deciding to go after Bakugo, even though literally they should not. He feels the most guilt, which I understand completely because he could do nothing. He felt so helpless. Kirishima, it's not your in all of this who was like, why did it have to be you two? And even though Kirishima and Yaoyorozu don't know the whole Hosu incident, Ida is like, why did it have to be you two? The two that put their lives on the line when I was being reckless. Why of all the people now do you have to be the ones being reckless and me the one trying to tell you this is not a good idea? Todoroki and Midoriya, they're gonna do whatever they can to rescue people, even if it's going against the law. Well, plus Bakugo is like his childhood friend. He feels responsible. Kirishima feels very responsible. So Yaoyorozu makes another tracker for them, while All Might and the rest of the pro heroes try to rescue Bakugo. These no moves happening. They try to get Bakugo, but All for One like transports them to a different space, and then you have All for One nearly killing or close to killing Best Jeanist, which I was just like, not about that. That's when everything goes down, you know, they rescue Bakugo. They see All Might going up against All for One, and they're terrified. I don't blame them. They come up with this plan, and they propel themselves in the air, and Deku's like, the only person he'll trust is you, Kirishima. You have to be the one to reach out your hand. So Kirishima does. He reaches out his hand and says, come on, and even Bakugo knows the situation. He knows that while he's around, All Might can't fight at his full potential. Can't go up against All for One unless Bakugo is safe and out of the way. He has to be rescued. You have All Might going up against All for One, and like the whole world now knows All Might is Skinny Might and that he's losing his power. He gives it his all. His last smash ever is United States a smash, and he just the last fuel of his flames, and that's his last fight. Every time I go back and watch that like moment, that whole section, that whole scene of them fighting, I tear up every time because it's just like intense, man. The whole world knows that their symbol of peace is gone and that shit's about to get real. They had that really nice conversation on the beach, how All Might's like, I will devote myself to training you to become the next hero. Deku's just like, I love you, All Might. He's like, what I tell you, cool with the waterworks, kid. I'm just like, oh. The end of like season 3 where they're gonna do their provisional license exam, which is this is the one where they get their official license so they can work in real life with heroes to help stop villains, capture villains. It's now really their license of they can use their quirks out in public. It's them meeting up with a bunch of other different schools. The provisional license arc, I forget all the time like what went down with that. And I forget, well, how did Bakugo and Todoroki not get their licenses? Because Bakugo, you know, was kind of rude to all of the people that needed saving. The second portion of the licensing exam is to rescue people from like disasters that have happened. And Bakugo's just like yelling at all these people. He didn't really save anybody. And I'm like, Bakugo, this is part of being a hero. So the first part of the exam is they are given 3 things they can put on their body, and they are given 6 balls. If all 3 of their stickers they put on themselves are like taken out, they do not pass the exam. You have Kaminari and Kirishima that follow Bakugo's. Bakugo goes off on his own. Like with Todoroki, it's funny enough, those are the 2 that really go off on their own, and they're the 2 that fail. I don't know, man, maybe that's just like a coincidence. Right off the bat, it's a tradition every year for the rest of the schools to all gang up and get class 1A out first. This class, I'm pretty sure, is different. There's a reason why Eraserhead didn't tell this class that happens, because I think you like your class. Class has been through a lot. Like, they might not have a lot of experience. They fought villains. Good luck trying to get all of class 1 out. Bakugo, Kirishima, and Kaminari encounter this meatball guy from Shiketsu, who if he touches you can turn you into like a meatball. Gross in and of itself. But both Bakugo and Kirishima get taken by this guy, and it's up to Kaminari, and he gets to really shine. He has this new thing, part of his support gear that he got from like Hatsume in the support class, white thing in his arm, and he can shoot out these little orange discs. Because his quirk, you know, not only does like if he uses too much of it, he gets really stupid, he electrocutes everybody around him because he has no really control of it. So these little discs are kind of like conductors. You can shoot them on areas and shoot the lightning just directly at that disc. So it's like a point of interaction. Shoots one of those disc thing near the meatball guy and ends up short-circuiting him out, electrocuting him so that he releases all the people that he's kidnapped. Yay, Kaminari saving his bros, saving his buddies from the meatball dude. Then you have Uraraka and Sero, like within the My Hero Academia second movie. I love them using their quirks together. It's really cool. Uraraka got some of Sero's tape, and she is gluing it and taping it to all of these boulders that she has up in the air. Then she's flinging those boulders down, releasing them. In turn, the tape gets stuck in all of these people, and then she can like get them all out with like the little balls she's been given. That's just really cool. It's a really cool move. They could team up in the future, and that could be like their ultimate move together. That'd be really dope. And I love this. Like, I forgot that Oyama had his own little moment at the end of season 3. He doesn't really think he's gonna be able to pass the exam, and he's telling Ida to leave me behind. Go find your other classmate. Ida tells him that he's the class rep. He wants to help out and watch over his class. It's what his brother would do. Ayama's like, well, why don't you go and get the license yourself? Why don't you just leave me here? Ida's like, no, class 1A sticks together. And I'm like, exactly. You guys have been through so much. They've all been through so much together that class 1A sticks together. Uses his laser, shoots up a signal into the sky, which, yeah, brings all the rest of the classes to find where they are, but then that brings class 1A together so that it can all team up together and defeat all the people coming towards Ayama. All these people that are distracted by Ayama's laser. It's a way for Ida to get all behind them and like take them out. So Ayama wanted to live up to his classmates. He wanted to be able to be worthy of being a part of this class, and I'm like, you got into class 1A for a reason, Ayama, because you have a good quirk and you are a really cool person. You shine so brightly. You got Koda coming in with birds to swarm around everyone. Ojiro knocking everybody out with his tail. Mina says class 1A saw his laser and they came to help out. Yeah, class 1A sticks together. Second part of the exam, which is rescue hero training. It's really very tedious because you have to be able to say the right things. It's not about getting them to safety. It's also about reassuring them that, hey, you're gonna be okay. We'll get you help. Deku's like, that looks bad, and the kid's like, you're not supposed to say that to me, you're supposed to bring me reassurance, minus points. You have to make sure they're okay, but at the same time, you want to rescue these people. If they're in a building that's about to crumble or something, you want to rescue them as quickly as possible, but you also want to do it the most effective way possible. You don't injure the person, that you get them out quickly enough, but also that you don't do damage around you. And they were going really hard on the kids, I feel like, with this exam. They're having to still rescue people while Gang Orca and some of his sidekicks are pretending to be villains. Still rescue all these people while fighting some villains. But you gotta make sure the people that need rescuing and the people that need first aid are top priority. Like, Todoroki shoots some fire at Gang Orca because, you know, like, he's a whale, he's an orca. Inasa, who has this vendetta against Todoroki because when Inasa was a kid, he saw in Denver and really liked him, wanted his autograph, and Denver had this really mean, angry look in his eye and pushed Inasa as a child out of the way, saying, you're in my way. And he was doing his entrance exams for UA, was in the same bracket as Todoroki, ended up, like, getting more points than Todoroki when they had their first day. He tried to talk to Todoroki, and Todoroki's like, you're in my way, and he said, you have that same cold look in your eyes like your father did. That's why I don't like you or your father. Todoroki was that way. He was that way in the beginning, but he is not like his father anymore, and they end up fighting. Todoroki's trying to, like, capture Gang Orc, and Inasa keeps blocking his fire away, being like, you're not meant to be a hero, you're just like your dad, you both heartless people. And Todoroki's like, what the hell, what's wrong with you? So they end up fighting each other. This is not the time, you two. Inasa, get why you're pissed. Todoroki was a shitty person. He had a lot of reasons why he was shitty, because he had a lot of family issues, but he's better now. He's getting better. So they spent more time fighting each other, and that's why Todoroki and Inasa both didn't pass. Both got knocked the crap out of by Gang Orca, and on the ground they ended up having to come together and make like a fire tornado and close Gang Orca, but that still doesn't make up for the, like, petty fighting that you two did. Todoroki is so distracted by this, his fire ends up nearly hitting another student. Deku has to rescue him, and I'm just thinking in the back of my head, I'm like, get your head in the game. Listen to Troy Bolton. Get your fucking head in the game, Todoroki. Same thing to Inasa. What's wrong with you, man? And the more I go back and rewatch these seasons, the more remember things and the more I'm like, oh shit, this happened. He's like, the provisional license thing, I always forget about that arc. Like, you remember these things again and you're like, oh my god, I love this character. Like, and it's these little character moments like Deku fighting Todoroki and all those, like, memories and those emotions and those feelings. You have all these little moments make a show really good, and that's why I love My Hero Academia. Is it perfect? No. Do I have issues with every season? Yes. Do I have things that I wish they would, like, fix? Yeah. But do I love the show at the end of the day? 100%. I am at the end of the day here because I love these characters. I love Class 1A. I love getting to see what All Might's gonna do next. I love getting to see Deku's growth. I love getting to see Bakugo's growth. I love getting to see Todoroki's growth. I'm here for the smaller things too, like when they go on a shopping trip together as a class. I love those little, like, fun slice of life episodes too. Yeah, the show's not perfect, I know that, but at the end of the day, I still love the show for what it is. Thank you guys so much for watching. Of like this, I wouldn't really say it's a review. It's kind of a review for seasons 1 through 3, even though I've already seen them. Really wanted to have a video on my channel talking about my feelings on it. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys with another video very soon. So yeah, bye guys!